clicking that.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Did it not work?
I don't know. I'm waiting to see what they say. Oh, somebody just left. Hold on. I gotta wait and see if somebody joins again. You can hear me now? Yeah, it was just the button was off. Okay. Do I sound like Minnie Mouse? Do I sound like Minnie Mouse? I sound fine. Hallelujah. All right, let's get
You
this.
need to order yourself a set of those.
Yeah, I may have to. It feels fucking weird having this on, dude. Not even gonna lie.
But is it comfortable?
I guess.
You guess or it is?
All right, be quiet. You can't see the headset on TikTok. You can only see the mic. It looks fucking weird. Because my green screen is on. All right. I look cute. I look like a telephone responder. Hello, this is Safeco. Can I help you with your insurance? That's what I feel like right now. That's what I feel like right now. Hey. I do. I feel like I should be answering the phones. It's okay. So at least I don't sound like Minnie Mouse now. Okay, cool. Awesome. Perfect. Hi. All right. So I'm glad you guys can hear me. I sound weird as hell in my ears. But I know a lot of people use these on like YouTube and whatnot. And I always wondered why.
You can turn down the headset itself.
No, it's I can't hear me at all. I'm here. It's like,
Gotcha.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, all right. Hi. Okay, so there is a lot of stuff to talk about today. Are you going to be able to be quiet hearing me? Okay. There's a lot of stuff to talk about today. I woke up and apparently the internet chose violence. I don't know. Um, so I'm seeing if this is going to kick up here. I had my TikTok up and going and I shut it off because of the sound difficulties. Um, so there is a bunch of stuff that I feel needs to kind of be talked about today. First and foremost, I had the strangest comment section I've had in a hot minute. Um, so I had a girl come into my comment section who is big mad that I called a truce with April. I don't think people understand what the word truce is. We are not besties in any way, shape, or form. Okay. So I need people to understand that first and foremost. Um, because you call a truce with somebody, it means there's not going to be any more shots fired. That does not mean that suddenly you are working with them again. We are we know exactly where we stand on the whole topic. Yes, it's a ceasefire. It's not butt buddies. Exactly. It is more of a ceasefire because one thing that I've realized and I've been talking about for the past month and a half is that all the creators are being spun around so it takes away from what we need to be doing. And the one thing that me and April had set out to do in the beginning was to bring truth and the situation with the whole gypsy thing to light. And it's okay. And so one thing that got lost in the fray of that is if creators in general can beef with each other, then we're not talking about the thing at hand. And the true crime community, somewhere along the line in the past 2 months, went to hell in a handbasket because we are so hung up with these shots fired videos. I can, Carissa, I can see you. We're so hung up with these shots fired videos. You know, to me it went to a head when both me and April are on Sir Morbid's live and we can't even coexist on another panel because April decided to do what she did. We're just gonna call it that. But anyway, we can't even coexist on a panel because we're so busy firing off at each other. So it's a lot easier to pull a ceasefire for the greater good. And if people want to say that I'm flip-floppy, wishy-washy, you can look at it however the hell you want. But what I'm looking at it as is if you cease fire, all that is saying is I'm not going to make shitty videos about you. You're not going to make shitty videos about me. If we speak about each other on a live, we're going to try to make it as factual as we possibly can, and not do basically guessing games. And guessing games are important. Yes, it's not flip-flopping, it's learning and growing. As adults, you have to learn how to act accordingly in your if me and April were working for the same company, we wouldn't be able to get on here and do what we've been doing. We would have to learn how to coexist in a professional environment, whether or not, however, our true feelings were towards each other. We do not 100% see eye to eye on um certain items, especially in our personal lives. But in any work environment, you have to put aside your personal views to maintain some modicum of professionalism. So what we chose to do was to cease fire on the shitty videos. Now, I'm hoping that that can still stay where it is. I'm hoping that we can set aside personal differences to do what we originally had set out to do together. We are now going to do separately. I told her that I support her in what she is doing, but it's not like we are going to quote unquote work together again. We do not work well together. I think that's abundantly clear. We are both very alpha females, and I don't like being baby don't like to sit in a corner. So, um you're doing it again. So, um we've decided to try to stop doing the shots fired at each other, which is what I've been asking creators to do. However, today I did go to her and asked her about the whole Sarah situation. I woke up this morning to lots of messages saying that Sarah has split from the Good Wives network. I had a little bit of insight into that I wasn't going to speak on because I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about the ceasefire necessarily, um, just because of people not understanding what a truce is, what a ceasefire is. But apparently she has spoken on the fact that we are um holding a truce. Save me one little spot so I can. Okay. Um, we are trying to do what we are trying to do, and we're having to recognize that we have to start leaving personal bias out of it. You can call us, say us, whatever you want to do. This does not mean I back things she's done. This does not mean that I agree with things that she has done. It means that um pot shots need to stop. So you can judge me on that all you want. I don't give a fuck. As you can see here. Um exactly, Petty. Shut the fuck up. Uh Look, it's this or Minnie Mouse. I don't know what to tell you. Um, so one thing that was very frustrating to me is I got tagged.
You do kind of look like Minnie Mouse, though.
Anyway, you're doing it again. I've asked you.
No, I'm glad.
Okay, okay. I don't look like Minnie Mouse. I said I sounded like Minnie Mouse
Yeah,
before.
but now you got big old ears.
Oh,
you kinda look
true.
like Minnie
Okay.
Mouse.
All right. So, can I explain a little bit more on the whole Sarah things? I keep seeing bits, but not the whole story. So, when I had reached out to April, as you guys know, I had information after everything was said and done and shit went crazy. The PR team, love that whole little situation there, reached out to April and said that She needed to talk to me because I was right, that I needed to be talked to, that I was right about a lot of situations and to hear me out. April obviously did what most people would do and said, I don't think so. I'm not talking to her. But she reached out to me at this person's behest who is having a mental breakdown, but we're not going to go there. Um, and we discussed some of the things that I said I had information on. I feel like we're on to something. I hope for those of you who are wondering in the sideways that have things to do with it, we have compared notes. I do think that a lot of what has gone on in this situation is I'm just going to call a spade here. When April and I were working together, we were finding things out. We were um on we were on a road, and I think that it was very smart to divide us. Okay. We could have went our ways peacefully. Neither one of us handled it very well. I know where I can, we sat and compared notes. I do see where one thing got lost in translation where I did go a little batshit, not gonna lie. She took it a lot more batshit, not gonna lie. But what I did realize is that it's a lot easier to divide and conquer. So if we were on a road of discovering something, it was easier for us not to compare notes. So one thing we got to do when we decided that we were going to cease fire was compare notes. I don't think anybody expected that to happen, and there is some things going on, people moving behind the scenes, on TikTok especially, that are moving behind the scenes, pulling shisty shady shit. And So we were comparing notes on that. While this was happening, um, I've already got it for harassment and bullying, y'all. 13 minutes in without saying a goddamn thing. Talking about pulling a truce to stop this. I've already gotten a violation for harassment and bullying. Not even kidding. I'm over here. I'm over here. Um, this is the crazy shit that I'm talking about. This is why I do all of my lives on YouTube. Because there are people on TikTok that do not I'm easier to shut down on TikTok than I am on YouTube, but I want you guys to realize something. When you're shutting me down, you're proving my point. Every time I try to bring light and truth to this matter, I get shut down. What does this tell you? What does this tell you that I have to be shut down every time I start to talk about it? It tells you that there is a reason I'm being shut down. And that is exactly why I do all of my lives on YouTube now, because if you shut me down on TikTok, I'm still going to be on YouTube. You're still going to have the replays. You're still going to be able to access the information that I am going to put out regardless of you trying to shut me up. Um so go ahead, because you prove my point when you try to shut me down. You're not offending me. You're actually proving my point, so I appreciate you. Um One thing I want to say, there's a rumor going around that was put out that would have been a lot easier to just have asked me about. There's a rumor going around TikTok that was put out by a creator who has made it her goal in life to put out information that is not exactly accurate. Um I am I do not care at this point who has a bigger platform than I do. I have my own followers in my own right. This account here only has 13,000 followers. My main account has approaching 30,000 followers, and an account that, yes, I do have. No, I did not pay for followers on. It was an account that I did have that I can utilize, that I did build with 100,000 followers. I don't care whose toes I step on. I'm going to say what I have to say regardless. Okay. But what I can say is this: if you hear a rumor about me, I appreciate the people that had come to me and said, hey, this creator is putting out this information about you. Is it accurate? Because one thing I'm always going to tell you guys is the truth. And there is an inaccuracy that is going on that has been put out about me. that would have been very easy had the creator just simply asked me. Now, she's not going to ask me for a couple of reasons. Number one, she has blocked me because we had a very real altercation in my YouTube live about a month ago. I appreciate the whole she's better than I am because I wouldn't have done it. Um, you didn't ask me. Um, and this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that me and April have created a ceasefire truce, because this is exactly what is happening. All the creators are being spun around to target each other. So now here I am having to put out the actuality of a situation and fix misinformation that is going out, again, in some weird attempt to get creators to beef with each other. It's very simple. I'm not going to beef with this creator. Okay, this creator has already proven that they want to be unprofessional in the way that they deal with things, that they want to make skits, making fun of creators, um, um, and that is not how I play my game. Okay, that's not how I play my game. One thing you're not going to see about me is you're not going to see skits. I'm not going to drag my kids into it. I don't have kids, as you guys know. Make a pot shot about that. I don't care. At least your kid didn't want to kill you. Anyways, um, I don't bring pot shot. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna make skits. I'm not gonna put on wigs and clown makeup. But it would have been very, very easy for this creator to reach out to me and say, "Hey, did this happen?" Instead, she took it on authority of some source. But I can tell you that whatever source it was is wrong. I have not been I have not been contacted in any way, shape, or form by Mike Stanfield. Actually, I had reached out to him a couple weeks ago, a month ago. I'm still on scent. Okay. I reached out to him on TikTok, the only way I knew how. And I said, look, I gave you guys my word. If you need me, I'm here. You know where to find me. I am still on scent. I have not been reached out to via letter, via phone, via TikTok, via email, via nothing. I have not in any way, shape, or form been contacted by Mike Stanfield to work in the defense of Christy Blanchard. I have made it a point in a video setting the misinformation straight. So if you have been on this particular YouTube, this particular TikTok, right here, you can see a few videos that I have put out. One of them explaining the misinformation that is going on. I feel like a lot of times I have to come on here and explain away misinformation. Things like Dan being in jail, which I had to prove he was not in jail. Things such as me being called for a defense witness for Christy Blanchard. Is there a possibility that I could be called if this lawsuit does in fact go back into the correct venue? Yes, there's a possibility under number 46. They were going to reach out to people who had worked with April in the past. Could I be called? Yes. Have I been called? No. Also, I want to state the fact that unless things have changed, I have spoken with a family friend and they don't even know if this lawsuit is going to go back into a court system. For some reason, this creator, maybe she has better intel than me. I don't know. I doubt it, but I could be wrong. As it stands, as I was told, this lawsuit may or may not see the light of day again. Um, it was explained to me that it was going to be expensive, to which I replied, then use Gypsy's blood money. She's the reason all this happened. Without Gypsy, none of this would have happened. April wouldn't have came into the picture. Shots wouldn't have been fired. Drama on the internet wouldn't have ensued. Defamation wouldn't have been had. Documents wouldn't have not been given back or given freely. And so if they truly want to take this lawsuit in to a court system under the correct venue, which I said from the beginning was not the correct venue. I argued that wholeheartedly that it was not the correct venue. Nobody wants to listen to me. That's okay. People don't want to listen to me, but I've said a lot of things. I've said a lot of things, such as things I will talk about later, such as Pick Me Sarah's departure from GWN. Um, but as it stands, as of now, they have not called me. What I will say is this: I said it in a video. I stand by it now. I have told April. I have told friends of the Blanchards. I have said it on a video. I will reiterate it again so it is recorded on my YouTube. I stand by my word. You can call me. However, I have always said, I always will say, that if anybody calls me in this goddamn lawsuit and you want to drag me into it, okay, in the beginning, yes, I inserted myself into it. I did. Okay. I did. Seeing what I've seen now, I'm the only person, stands for maybe one other person, who has chosen to be very away from the situation. I'm not going to name any names. If you can figure it out, that's on you. There's only one other person really who has been in these situations since 2019 that has worked with both sides. I have seen both sides, and I see where both sides have been right and where both sides have been wrong. And I will say this, if for whatever reason I was called, I'm always going to be on the truth. I'm always going to be on the truth. So if anybody puts me on a stand and asks me a question, I'm going to answer it full and completely truthful. And if that ends up going in April's favor, then it goes in April's favor. If it goes in Christy's favor, it would go in Christy's favor. I don't think they're going to want somebody like me on the stand because I'm not going to lie for people. And that's what a big problem is in this particular situation, in this true crime content, in this particular era of ever since Gypsy Rose has gotten out of prison, people are lying for people. People are being used as pawns. People are being used as bulldogs. People are being used to get out information because the family doesn't want it. They don't want to come out and say. So they have people, they talk to creators, they get us all stars in our eyes to where we're going to, fight tooth and nail, which I did stupidly. And after me, I found out that after I was out of the situation, they have continued to reach out to creators. They have continued to reach out to creators. It's not just the fact that Gypsy reached out to Nina. It's not just the fact that Gypsy ended up on Natasha's live. It's not just the fact that Bree continues to bulldog for this family. It's not just the fact that I was reached out to 2 days after my break from April. They are continuing to reach out to content creators. What the fuck does this tell you? What does this tell you? It is continuing, and it will continue. And that's why I'm going to be shut down, by the way. I'm going to be shut down. I'm always going to be shut down. That's the way it is. But my truce, my ceasefire is because all of this has been spun completely out of hand to where all the content creators are fighting with each other. And the more we fight with each other, the less we talk about what needs to be talked about. And so I wanted to put out there, I've not been called. If I get called, I'm going to tell the truth. And I don't care who the fuck it goes for. As I told April today before I got on this live. Because I reached out to her to get her in, to get what she had to say about Sarah leaving the GWN, and how it went down. I was told, a week extra prior of situations that had happened between April and Sarah, and I did not speak on them. I did not want to open that can of worms. But I've been tagged and shown a lot of things about Sarah apparently leaving Good Wives Network. I can tell you a couple of things on that. I got zero problems talking on this because I have called Sarah for who and what she is from the beginning. I've told you guys she got the name that she proudly wears on TikTok. I don't know if she's changed it. Sarah Pick Me Pink Hat. I've said she was a pick me from the beginning. I believe she's a pick me. I believe she will continue to be a pick me. And I have no problems in saying that. However, if you hear any information on me, feel free to just ask me because it's a lot easier for me to just deal with it, make a video, go on a live to explain accuracies. If I get called, if I somehow get a letter, if I somehow get a call, I'm going to let you guys know. Okay? I'm going to let you guys know. There's no point in me hiding it.
One time, I'm really going to interrupt you.
Huh?
I know you guys remember what I said the other day, a few weeks ago, about burning her shit. If it's not drama and you're just informing her, hey,
Right.
this person said this, what's the truth?
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Right.
Hey, so and so is doing this. You should no, I don't want that shit. Hey, is this true?
Right.
Is a different story.
So coming to me and
Just so you
asking
guys
me
know.
something, coming to me and asking me if I got a summons, what I need to, no, I'd be a witness. I'd be a witness. But I always have and I always will say what needs to be said. I will give people credit where credit is due. I will say where things are wrong, whether I'm friends with somebody, whether I'm not, whether I have a beef with them or whether I don't. You've heard me say things like I feel like Gypsy set Nina up with those text messages. I do. I believe she set her up. Nina and I do not get along. I don't appreciate the fact that my name was brought in on a video saying that I had been summoned for a deposition. I don't care if you throw the word allegedly in there. Allegedly only covers your legal ass. Okay. What it doesn't cover is the fact that you are putting out false information and you do it knowingly, because had you came to me and asked me, I could have said, no, that's not true. But instead of doing the ethical thing, which is to fact check, likes, follows, and views are more important. It's more sensationalized if you just go with the rumor. It's more sensationalized. You get more likes, you get more views, you get more comments, you get more interaction if you put something out there without fact checking it. And it would have been extremely easy to fact check. Regardless, I will tell you this, I will put out to any creator whether or not I have a beef with you. If you have a question on me, just ask me. We ain't got to be besties. But this goes out to any creator who's ever had an issue with me, whether it is April, Nina, Natasha, Bree, anybody. If you have a question, if you hear something about me and you want to make a video on it, simply ask me so that you don't end up looking like an idiot. Because that's what happens when you put out information and don't bother to fact check. If you were to go to anybody else, you would fact check, and there was no fact check being done. It would have been a simple, hey, I heard this. Nope, you're wrong. Okay, cool. I went to April today with that very same thing because I have learned that by just popping off at the mouth, shit gets put out wrong, shit gets said wrong. So I went straight to April and I said, hey, what happened with Sarah? Because I'm going to go on a live, I'm going to talk about it, and I want to hear your version because I've seen the videos, I've seen the screenshots, I've seen what Sarah has said. What is it from your version? I've already been kicked off for let's see, what was it kicked off for? Harassment and bullying. What does that tell you guys? What does that tell you guys? I've already been kicked off for harassment and bullying for simply saying to fact check and what is exactly going on. I am absolutely willing to eat that ban. I don't care. I'm not going to allow misinformation to be out, especially misinformation that involves me. So, I went to, I know it's insane. It's the same people. It's always the same people. It's always going to be the same people. That are going to be angry that I am not going to lie. So I'm okay with that. Excuse me, I have zero problem getting a stupid ban for saying what needs to be said. So to continue on with what I'm saying, for those people who are joining me from TikTok, hello, you should have been here to begin with. I told you I was probably going to get a ban. You should have listened. Did you not realize when I got my first violation that the ban was coming? They're going to try to shut me up with any way possible. Okay, I don't know what y'all have not learned from this yet. I don't know what y'all have not learned about this family, about these creators. That the minute you try to speak truth, the minute you try to hold somebody to a sense of truth telling, that the minute that they are being called out for who and what they are, it is suddenly harassment and bullying and not actual facts of you did something wrong. Putting out information with my name on it without fact checking it, unprofessional, shisty, but whatever. Do what you got to do for views, boo. I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. Look, I've seen the followers. I don't want them. I've seen them. I don't want those type of followers. I don't want followers that think it's okay and funny and acceptable to say yes, queen, when somebody's being bullied. I don't want those followers. You can keep them. I would rather have my, 13,000 on one, 30,000 on another, and 100,000 on another that do not believe that bullying is okay or that misinformation is okay. I'm perfectly acceptable with that. Thank you. So, anyways, to get on to the next situation at hand, I reached out to April and I said, look, I'm going to go on live. I'm going to be asked about you and Sarah. I want to know what you got to say about this. She says, I just want you to be fair. I just want you to say, what's going on. And what I can tell you is this. I said, girl, look, I've heard you're going to Florida. I said, how the hell are you asking for people to help you out in this legal case? How are you asking people to help you out in a legal case and you are taking a fucking vacay to Florida? I said, you understand that looks like shit, right? And she's like, but that's not what's happening. I'm like, girl, that's exactly what's happening. You are asking for funds to help you in a legal case and you're going to Florida. Like, you don't get to ask your followers for money to help you with a legal battle and hightail it to Florida. So, what I will tell you is what she told me. Okay. First of all, she said that people shouldn't report on BS, and that's what people like me do. I said, well, that's what true crime creators do, honey. So, I don't know what to tell you. But this is the story I got told. Like it, lump it, leave it. This is what I got told. Okay. So essentially, what is happening, and I told her to run, not walk from the situation. She doesn't like to listen. I told her that. I said, you are hard headed as fuck. If you would have listened to me about Pick Me Sarah, you wouldn't be in the situation you're in, but you do you, boo. And you can look back at this text message later and realize that I was correct. She was reached out to by a podcast creator. I am not familiar with this podcast creator. I don't watch a whole lot of anything. I don't got time. I do my job on here. I do my things with my family. Call your dog. And
Sydney, come here.
so I asked her, I said, she said, well, it is a business vacation. I said, well, explain. She said, I'm being asked to be on a podcast. I said, okay. She said, and they're paying for me to come down. I said, so it's an expense paid business trip. She said, yes, it's an expense paid business trip. I said, why the fuck can't you just zoom that shit in? She said, I don't know. They want me there in person. They're paying for me to come down there and be on their podcast. I'm flying in on this day. I'm leaving on this day. This is not a, vacation. She's not paying for it. Um, she was asked to be on a panel on a podcast that was being paid for by the podcast person. Now, you can take with that what you will. I have no idea. Um, I don't understand why you wouldn't just Zoom. I would not be hightailing it to Florida. If somebody wants me, I don't like to travel. Look, I'm just gonna be real. I don't like to travel. So if somebody wants me on a podcast, anybody in here, you want me on a podcast, this is what you're gonna see because I ain't getting on no motherfucking plane. I can tell you that right now. I've seen Lost. I know how it happens. I'm good. Um, but she's being taken down for an expense paid business trip, fly in, fly out in a 24-hour period to be on this show. And then apparently, from what I understand, this creator decided to drop the news that she was going to have April on this panel. I said, okay, so let me just get this straight. So you decided to go on a panel and this person decided to drop this news without speaking about you, made everybody look like you were a con grifter asking for money and escaping to Florida. I said, you do not understand how that looks, correct? She's like, well, my followers understand. I said, that's great that your followers understand. But I can tell you, as a person who does not know all of this, and a lot of people do not know all of this, and a lot of people do not bother to fact check, as we've seen, that you look like a grifty con that is begging for money for a legal situation and then going on a vacay to Florida. That's how it looks. Sorry to suck. I don't know what to tell you. That's what it looks like. So she told me that that is not what was happening. That it was a business paid trip. And I said, well, all I can say is this. I don't know this creator from Adam. I've never heard of them. I don't know who they are. But The fact that they are going to drop this without even speaking to you tells me, I'm going to call a spade, that this person has maybe not the best intentions in mind. Hold on. Are we good? My dogs are barking, as you can hear. Hold on. Yeah. What's up?
Oi, shut it.
Do we got company?
No.
Oh, okay.
The dogs ran out barking, and there's nobody out. No.
Oh, okay.
Nowhere
I want to
anywhere.
make sure we didn't have company.
Shut up. There ain't nobody there.
Okay. So, I said, you didn't listen to me about Pick Me, and obviously, I'm gonna throw some shade out here. I don't give a fuck. The End of the Weeds podcast. I seen the Get Ready With Me videos. I seen the stars in her eyes, and I seen a small time content creator latch onto April and become part of something bigger, much like Sarah did. I don't know the End of the Weeds people. I just know that I saw the Get Ready With Me, and honestly, it made me nauseated. Call a spade a spade. I'm just gonna say what I gotta say. Bye, Audra. But I don't know who this content creator is. They want her to fly in. For what? I don't know. What is a pick me? A pick me is a person that will ass kiss their way in, and do what needs to be done and say what needs to be said in order to be picked. Okay. If you've not ever noticed, Sarah ass kisses. She is a huge ass kiss. And she puts up with the shit that April gives her. I don't know, you want to call them coworkers, team, whatever you want to call it, because she wants a piece of that pie. And I will tell you that, and I said this, I told this to April, I've said this on lives. Sarah did not go to that lawsuit to be a friend to April. Okay. Anybody with two eyes and that can breathe out their nose can tell you that Sarah went to that lawsuit so that Sarah could say that she was at the Gypsy Rose lawsuit. This didn't have to do with being a good friend to April. This had to do with, I'm going to be front and center in a lawsuit that's made it onto TMZ. Okay. So what I can tell you is this. Judging by, and I'm only going to tell you this is judging by the screenshots that I seen, which again, I said to April, have you not learned that you running to the fucking internet with screenshots has never fared well for you? I don't know why you keep doing this. She says, I don't want to talk about the whole Sarah thing. I'm not going to give her the attention she's desiring. And I said, but you did. I said, because the first thing you did was take these screenshots and shove them up on the internet. Did you not learn from last time? Now, from what I understand, and I don't know if this is going to be true or accurate, she's not really going to talk about the thing with Sarah. She put out what she had to say. She wanted Sarah to be seen for what she is. However, y'all know me. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say what I got to say. From the screenshots that I seen. Okay. And screenshots don't lie, y'all. That's why I don't ever care if mine are shown. I said what I said. And I'll say it again. I wore the perfect shirt for today. I said what I said. I'll say it again. I don't care when I put something on, when I text something, I know it very well may end up anywhere. Reddit, TikTok, sent in a text message. I know when I'm saying something, I better stand 10 toes down on what I'm going to say. And what I can say is this: screenshots about Sarah say everything I've ever said about Sarah. So isn't she in the hospital? I'm going to say this. I don't know if you guys noticed this. I noticed this, other people noticed this, but I'm just going to point this out to you. First, Sarah was barraging April with text messages. You could see that she was not being answered. She was barraging her. I can tell you just in the time that I was on a phone call, yes, I was on a phone call with April, Sarah was blowing her up nonstop. I can tell you that. Sarah was extremely angry that I was on the other end of that phone. However, again, truce pacts were being made. Truce pacts were being made. Business plans were being made of ceasefire tactics. Sarah apparently got very angry over that. Too bad. She was blowing her up even then. As you can see in those text messages, this is just what I'm going to take from it. Sarah was blowing her up. She wasn't getting what she wanted. When Sarah found out that April was going to be going to Florida without her, suddenly you've seen the text messages change and say, I have left GWN. I have blocked her on everything. I hope she goes to jail. I don't know if you guys seen these. She said that, April was scamming money and that she hoped April went to jail and that she blocked GWN. What I will say is this, Sarah, babes, were you not helping grift and con that money when you were taking your 5-day vacay to the lawsuit? Because last I checked, you were right there doing the same shit she was, and now you're mad because she was invited to a podcast and you were not. Now suddenly April's the bad guy when you were doing the exact same shit with her by her side. And now you're going to say that she's wrong. Well, honey, if she's wrong, you're wrong. I'm just going to call that out right fucking now. But one thing that I saw in those text messages, I don't know if y'all seen it. April has it posted, but she told April at, I think it was 2:00, I want to say, I could be wrong, that she was in the hospital. She was very sick. She then told another person who had reached out to her at approximately 5:00 when asked if she was in the hospital. She said no, she was not. This is a person that is willing to use their ailment, which I will not speak of. I don't know if it's out there. I'm not going to out it. But this is a person who is willing to use their sickness ailment to garner sympathy from somebody to make them feel bad and lie about it. Because she absolutely, in those text messages, told April that she was, in fact, in the hospital. And hours later, when confronted with, "Are you in the hospital?" said, "No, I am not." I do not think that is okay at all. It is not okay to use your illnesses to garner sympathy when you're a shitbag. That goes to more than one person. Sarah is butthurt. Let's call a spade a spade. Sarah is butthurt. She was not included in the podcast. She weaseled her way into Missouri. She grifted the money right along. If Sarah wants to say that April was grifting and conning money, in this instance, she was also grifting and conning money. Not even 2 weeks ago. But now that you're not involved, now it's okay. So if you want to say that you hope that April goes to jail, honey, you took that money as well. You were in there making what is allegedly a false police report as well. If April goes to jail, you're going to be sitting next to her. Do you realize that? Because the two peas in the pod that you were, you all did the same thing. You all got that money. You all asked for that money. You all made that report. And now you're hoping she goes to jail. I hope you understand that karma is real. And if you just put out into the fucking universe that you want your cohort to go to jail, do you understand that karmatically you have probably fucked yourself? You have literally said that you hope that the person who has the same charges you have and has done the same things that you have done goes to jail. So does that in fact mean that you are admitting that what you did is illegal? Because you're hoping she goes to jail for what you had a part in. So are you admitting that what you did was wrong? Are you admitting that when you guys took that money for that vacation, because I'm going to call it a fucking vacation, you shouldn't have been there 5 fucking days. I told her that. I don't give a fuck. Shouldn't have been there 5 days. I don't care. Period. Okay? But if you are going to go on and say that you hope that somebody goes to jail when you were sitting right along with them in the trench of it, asking for money, doing the things you did, when you end up in jail, you put that on yourself karmatically because you're pissed off that you don't get to go to a all expense paid podcast, because that's what it's always been for Sarah. She is a social climber who will climb on anybody to make sure her name is in lights. She's got 10,000 followers. Don't ask me how. And she hasn't figured out how to do anything with it. So she rides everybody's coattails. Was she really part of the media, Ryan? I don't know. Look, what it boils down to in that aspect, I know what I got told. I know what I've heard. I know what I've seen. Could you technically say Sarah was part of the media? Well, she's part of the alleged Good Wives Network, which is in fact content creators, which is in fact part of social media. Would that make her part of the media? You could argue yes. Was she going there and asking for those comments for media? I don't know. I don't know what her intentions were. I have no idea. And to hear eyewitness statements, and don't make me pull them up because I fucking will, she didn't even introduce herself as media. Ask Into the Weeds. They said it on their podcast. She did not introduce herself as part of the media. April says she did. Sarah says she did. Into the Weeds said she did not. But she had no business, in my opinion, being there. She portrayed herself as a friend to April. Hey, I'll take you there. I'll drive you there. I know that, you're having problems getting there. I'll take you. This was not about being a friend. This was about being up close and personal, saying, I went to the Gypsy Rose lawsuit. I was there. I know how she is. I seen the video where she put out with Dan about how she discovered this and she discovered that. And I had her on my live and I decimated that video because she couldn't even put out the accurate content. She didn't even know where it was from. I had all of the statements, all of the police reports saying that this was not even where she said it was. Because she's desperate for that attention. She's desperate for that spotlight, and she will use anything she can to get it. And now she's angry because she wasn't included in an all expense paid trip to Florida. And so now she says that she's blocked April. Well, that's funny to me because that's not how it looks like on those text messages. I don't know. Maybe she did. But in those text messages that were put out, she's blowing her up wall of text. That doesn't look blocked to me. I know that when I was on the phone with her, hashing out fucking truce, that Sarah was blowing up her phone while I was on the phone. So it's weird to me to take the sentiment of I blocked her when you can see that she was being ignored continually, that she was being iced out. Okay, so let's go over that. So the trip was paid for her by her followers, not some phantom podcast. I do not know who this podcast person is. She gave me the name. And apparently, this person, so you can take it up with them. This person apparently is the one who leaked that she is being expected in Florida. So if you have an issue with this phantom podcast, I suggest you go to said phantom podcast and ask them their particular view on this. Because according to said phantom podcast, they are paying for it. So I suggest you go ask them because I couldn't tell you either way if this is legit or it isn't. I am telling you what I asked her and what she told me. I do not know because I never reached out to this person to fact check because it's not that big of a deal to me. And I know that she is asking for money to help with this particular will we hear this interview? I have no idea. I have no idea. I will tell you one thing here and fucking now. One thing that I said, and I can show you the text message because I got zero fucking problem, is I said to her very, very straightforwardly, I'm Team Ryan. Fuck all y'all. I ain't got a stake in any game. I just want to know what the truth is, put the truth out there, and I will give credit where credit is due. I have given credit to Fancy where it is due. I've given credit to Nina where it's due. I've given credit to Bree for how she feels. Regardless of my personal feelings on any of those creators. I think the dispute is about all the money somehow, and it could be. Look, as I said, and I don't know if you just got here, I said straight ass to her, girl, this don't look good. You're asking for money from people to help you with this particular legal battle, and you're hightailing it to Florida. Like, this looks like you're asking for money and going on a vacation. To which she then said, I was reached out to by this podcaster named, and they want to fly me down there. I said, why can't you Zoom? She said she wants me there in person. I'm flying in on this date. I'm leaving on this date. It is literally a 24-hour fly in, talk, fly out. So if we ever see this interview, then I guess we will know if it is true or accurate. That's the best I can tell you, because I don't know. I did not reach out to this person because, in all honesty, it does not affect me. Whatever she's doing. Why is she bringing her husband? Well, devil's advocate. Devil's advocate here. I can tell you right now, if somebody said to me, "Hey, I need you to come down for a podcast." Now, if somebody told me to come to Florida, I'd say I'm fucking Zooming. You ain't getting my ass on a plane. But let's say somebody in Knoxville said, "Hey, Ryan, we're doing this podcast in Knoxville. We're going to give you some gas money. We need you to come down and give, we want everybody on the panel here in person. I'm going to give you gas money to get down here to Knoxville to be part of this panel." Do you know who would be coming with me? I'm not going by my fucking self. I'm not going to another state by myself. I'm not going to a panel by myself. I'm not doing none of that.
Someone you've never met before.
That's just smart. We're in the true crime community, motherfuckers. I'm going to get on a plane or take a car to a place that may not be legit. And even if it is legit, I don't know my way around that town and I'm going to wander around it by myself. No. Maybe that was part of the deal. You know what? I'm not coming down there unless I can bring my husband. Okay, cool. We'll fly him down too. Everybody looks for the most malicious thought process possible when it comes to anybody or anything. Okay? We don't know why her husband is going. I don't know. I couldn't guess. I have no idea. But I can tell you, if that was me and I was asked to be on a podcast, he would be taking the day off and he would be going with me, or I'm not going. Period. So maybe that's how she said it. I'm not coming down there alone. We don't know. We weren't on that phone call. We don't know. I mean, look, until this podcast comes out, is this a story? We don't know. I'm only telling you what I got when I asked. I said, look, as somebody who just had something put out about me that was inaccurate, I'm going to come to you and ask you, what is this about, before I go on a live and just talk? Because I'll tell you, I would have came on here like those other people, like you are right now, Enigma, and say, look, this bitch is asking for money and she's going on a Florida trip. The fuck? How can you do that? That doesn't even make sense to me. But I asked. I got an answer. Is that answer truthful? I don't know. I'm simply telling you what I was told. She apparently had went on a live, I guess, and told her followers this. Now, people who don't like her aren't going to hear this. So I got it brought to me, and I'm just going to tell you what I know. Do I know the name of the podcast? I do. I'm not saying it because I don't know this person. I'm not going to say the name of the podcast. Another thing I want to talk about fairly quickly. My ads think you're an alcoholic. I'm sorry. Another thing I want to talk about real quickly is there's a video up on my Use Socratic. I got a little list of videos right now. They're finally going up. I'm having to, every video I put up, I have to private the video, clear my cache, turn off my phone, turn my phone back on, turn it to friends only, and then public it to upload any video right now. My TikToks, both of them are broken. Every video I put out, I have to do that. I had a video yesterday sit for 3 hours before it was posted. I had videos on my other profile that never posted. I had to take them down. But I will tell you this, I feel strongly enough about this topic that I replied to the person doing it. And I want to go over that a little bit with you guys right now because I do have to get off soon. I do have to make dinner. I am hungry. Um there was a person who apparently was incensed about the fact that I called a truce with April because bringing my private life into a public eye when I step onto another person's panel is not exceptional, not acceptable. Okay. When I step onto another person's panel and you are downgrading my abuse, that is not acceptable. Our private lives need to stay off this app. So I called a ceasefire in the fact of talking trash, talking shitty videos, etc. And this person apparently does not understand the concept of adulting or having to work with coworkers that you don't agree with or don't even like. And so when I pointed out that they apparently didn't understand what a truce was, we are not besties, we are not working together again, but simply that we have chosen to take the adult road in this. She got big mad, and she decided to say that I was not an adult because I worked at a pizza place and I shared a vehicle. Now, I don't know to any of the 93 people in here. I'm going to assume at least half of you work in some type of customer service, whether it is McDonald's, whether it is Walmart, whether it is a retail store, whether it is you are selling something somewhere to somebody. Okay. And without those people, which is exactly why in COVID they were called essential workers, without those lowly worker bees, the country does not spin. Burgers are not flipped. Tacos are not made for those people who can sit on their cushy ass up on their pedestal and talk down to people about what job they have. So to deem me not an adult um because of my job profession and two lines later tell me that I need to learn to make my own money. Girl, when I had my job and made my money, you had a problem with my job title. So, which is it? Because in the end, I don't have to work. My husband works. I do work. I get paid to do what I am doing right this very minute. I am a content creator. I get paid for what I do. That is my job. Okay? But let's take it back. When I was a pizza maker, bitch, you ain't going to get pizza if somebody like me ain't making it. And let me tell you, nobody under the age of 20 worked in my establishment. Okay. Most of the people that worked in my establishment were 30 plus. And you're going to put down people who make the things that you then use and then look down your nose at. If we are not deemed worthy to make those products, you are not deemed worthy to enjoy those products. Because without those people flipping burgers, without those people filling your carts and your cars, without those people getting the shoes down off of the shoe rack, you wouldn't be afforded those luxuries that you are now looking down your nose at. And to tell me that I'm not an adult because of the profession that I have when you just told me to have a job, but it wasn't an acceptable job to you, you are wrong. I own my home. But Ryan, you've had two bankruptcies. Yes, life bites you. And when my husband was hurt at work, we went through our life savings. Bankruptcy number one. When we had to move across country because my husband's job, his nice cushy job, where he was going back and forth and we were making great money, when it ended up, when the factory ceased to function, and he was going out for 6 days at a time, and I had just adopted a child, and y'all can fuck off with the next thing you're going to say on that. Um and I did not want to be alone 6 days a week. We moved to a place where he could be home and be with his family, and we took a pay cut. And from the expenses of moving across country, taking a pay cut, establishing our home in said state, we lost our tail. COVID hit. We took our bankruptcy in the middle of COVID. I don't think people understand that. We took our bankruptcy in October of 2020. Okay. My husband is a trucker. Do you know what ceased to happen in COVID? A lot of trucking. The economy had shut down, grinded to a halt, and my husband's loads were not coming through all the time. Okay. So we took a hit. We took a bankruptcy because of an injury. We took a bankruptcy because we moved across country, took a pay cut to do it, and then a fucking pandemic hit. But guess what? It is now 2024 where I am still paying off. By the way, just so you understand, that second bankruptcy, we pay back 20 some $1,000. I am paying for that, motherfuckers. I didn't get to walk away free and clear. I over $20,000 for that bankruptcy that is being paid off. You need to learn how to pay your bitch. I am. I have to pay that shit off. All that did was negate the interest. All that did was negate the upside downness in my car. I have to pay for my car, Blue Book value, the entire amount. I have to pay for my entire car. All it did was take down the interest that had ballooned over and flipped it negative. That all the other bills I had to pay, I have to pay a portion of that. So to say that I don't pay my bills or that I'm not an adult because of the profession that I have is ridiculous to me. It is absolutely ridiculous to me. Yes, there's a couple different bankruptcies you can file. The first one we walked away free and clear. My husband was hurt in his line of work. We were getting 2/3 pay. We went through our life savings very quickly. And for the second one, again, move across country, pay cut, pandemic. There is many people who took a bankruptcy during the pandemic. I am not the only one. I just happen to have to pay most of it back. I'm paying over $20,000 back in that bankruptcy. So don't tell me what the fuck I'm doing or what the fuck I'm paying, because I am paying shit back. Everything that I did, I'm paying back. I'm just not paying the interest on it, essentially. Yes, they did negotiate some of them down, but not to the extent that some people are thinking. I have to pay full for my fucking car. Full Blue Book value for my car. And I owed at the time, they ended up negotiating it down at the time. It had ballooned upward so much that I owed about $10,000 on my car. I have to pay that. I'm paying for that. I'm paying for all of that. But to suggest that I'm not an adult because I share a vehicle, number one, lots of people in America share a vehicle. Number one, this economy sucks. Number two, explain to me what the point is of having two vehicles when my husband literally goes to work, from work, to work, from work, to work, from work, and I have a stay-at-home job. I can take him to work. I can pick him up. There's no point in having a second vehicle. However, we do have a second vehicle. We have a motorcycle that he can use. Is it down currently? Yes. Are we getting it up by next month? Yes. We do have a second vehicle. Not that it was important. Many people in America only have one vehicle. That does not determine the level of adult you are based on the fact of whether you can or cannot afford or want a second vehicle. That does not negate your adulthood status because of what car you have, what car you drive, what job you have, what title you have. And to suggest otherwise is insane. I own my home. Now, somebody on here, I'm sure, is going to get on that video and say, yeah, your trailer. Guess what? There's a number one, to set it straight, there's a convergence deed on my land. This is actually a house now. Okay. Number two, so what if it's a fucking trailer? I lived my whole life in trailers. Why are trailers a bad thing? Number one, I still own it. Okay. Number three, and I don't think people understand this. When we came down here to get a house, we looked at houses. I looked at this. Okay. And number one, it is actually harder to get a loan for a fucking trailer because you have to jump through more hoops, you have to have more down, you have to have a higher credit rating because they depreciate in value. They don't go up in value, they depreciate. So it's a lot of people say there's no point in having them because they depreciate in value regardless. So you have to jump through a few more hoops to get trailers, by the way, which is funny. But to me, what it boiled down to is very simple. For what I wanted for my family, a trailer fit better needs. There's a more open floor plan. The bathrooms are bigger. The showers are bigger. The tubs are bigger. Okay. I have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square foot home. And whether you want to call it a double wide, whether you want to call it a house, whether you want to call it a trailer, what I have is mine. My husband worked for it. And if you want to downgrade me based on what you want to call it, that is a you problem, not a me problem, because I'm never going to be ashamed of what I have. Because I will tell you with everything in me, my husband is a dropout. He dropped out of school. Okay. And the fact that we even own a home, that we've owned 2 homes, is a blessing to me that I am very proud of, that I am very happy with, that my husband, regardless of the fact that he dropped out, made something of himself and that we own a home. And here's another thing I'm going to put out to you. Guess what? If you don't own your home and you live in an apartment right now, good for you. Good for you for having a place to call your own. You're living with your parents right now because you can't make a paycheck. Good for you. It's okay. We all struggle. But what it's not okay to do is look down your nose at anybody that's living underneath you and berate them because they are not as blessed as you happen to be in that moment. Because let me tell you something, when that happens, if you want to look down your nose at people who have less than you, guess what? One day that will be you. And I will give you a perfect example of that. My husband's father, who owned a home, a 2-story home. He looked down his nose every day at my mom. My husband's mom was very sick and she wanted to move into a trailer. And she ended up, after she left him, because she couldn't walk up the stairs and she had to sleep in a recliner because of this man's ego. His dad has an ego. Okay. And to him, living in a 1-story trailer was not sufficient. It was ghetto. It was trashy. Even though his wife of 20 plus years was sleeping in a recliner because she couldn't make it up the stairs. This man's ego was more important than his wife. And he sat down at my mom's table in her home and looked at her in the face and said, "I'll never live in a trailer." Guess what? Not only did that man end up living in a trailer, he ended up living in that trailer. Because when I left that home, we sold it to his brother. And when his dad fell on hard times and needed a place and his brother was moving out, guess who moved into that trailer that he would never live in? That exact trailer, his father. Because he thought it was acceptable to look down his nose with his cushy job and look at my mother, who struggled her ass off as a single mother, who was extremely proud of that house that his father ran into the ground and had to be demolished. My mother maintained that house pristinely for 23 years. His dad had it a handful of years and it had to be demolished. And he looked down his nose at my mom, who actually had a house of her own, be it a trailer that was pristine, and looked down his nose and put her down at her table. And he sat at that table one day and he lived at that table one day because he decided to look down his nose at somebody that he thought was less than him. And he ended up there. So I suggest for the people who look down their nose at people, if they have a house, that the next house isn't good enough, that trailer isn't good enough, that apartment isn't good enough, that living with your parents and helping them out isn't good enough, that one day that may be you, because all it takes in America is we are all one paycheck from homelessness. And you can argue that with me. You can argue it with me all day long, but most of us do not have enough savings to substantiate an entire month's worth of bills. And if you do have that, For the smart ass who's going to say, but I do. We did too. And we went through it very, very quickly. When my husband got hurt at work, we went through that savings very quickly. Very, very quickly. And guess what happened? Bankruptcy. As it happens to many people. Even when you prepare, it's never good enough. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's never good enough, even when you prepare. Everybody is one medical emergency away from homelessness, and that is a fact. That is a fact. I don't care how well you prepare. Get cancer. Get cancer. And then come talk to me in a year after you are $1 million in debt from your life-saving surgeries, your chemos, your IVIPs, your everything. Come to me after a year of cancer treatments and tell me how good you have it, because you don't. I am homeless and I would give anything to have a place like yours. One day you will. One day you will. And it doesn't have to be a place like mine. One day you will have a home. One day, if you are living in your car, okay, you have a car. I'm going to give you guys an analogy that I love. Okay. I got to think of it correctly because I don't want to do it backwards, because I will fuck it up, and it's a beautiful analogy. I'm going to try to do this the best I can. A guy looked down his nose at the car next to him and he said, God, look at that car. Look at my car. I can't even. I hate my car. My car's a sack of shit. It don't even start half the time. I can't even get to work. This car's a piece of shit. And the guy sitting over there on his bike was going, damn, I would kill for a car. I have to ride this bike everywhere. Rain, sun, snow, it doesn't matter. I have to ride this bike. And I would kill for a car. I would kill to have a car to not have to go in the rain. I have this bike. And the guy sitting on the tree said, damn, I wish I had a bike. I have to walk everywhere. I have to walk miles to get supplies. And the guy next to him in the wheelchair said, damn, I wish I had a set of legs. Every fucking day, we are not grateful for what we have. And I will be goddamn to let somebody look down their nose and tell me I'm not good enough because of the job I have, because of the home I have, because I sat in that trailer with my mom that she had given to me before she passed. And I said, I'm never going to get out of this trailer. I'm never going to get out of it. And I did. I bought a home. And people said it's not good enough. It's a double wide. You moved up. You went from single wide to double wide. Congratulations, trash. But I had it and it was mine. And guess what? I upgraded. Now I have a double wide on land. But you know what? It's my land. And it's my house. And my husband works his tail off every day, probably putting himself into an early grave, 70 hours a week, barely getting a day off to keep this roof over my head, because he made my mother a promise that I would be taken care of. And I work the best that I can because I am disabled. And I do the best that I can. And I will never have somebody look down their nose and tell me that I'm not good enough, because all that tells me is that you feel that you're not good enough, that you have to berate people because you are uncomfortable with how you feel in your life, because we are all doing the best we can. We are all doing the best we can. We all hustle. And there's people, a drug is a drug is a drug, and a job is a job is a job. People who look down their nose at addicts and say, oh my God, but we all have vices. We all have vices. Okay. And a job, we look down our nose and say, oh my God, sex workers. You know what? I'm going to tell you guys right now. They give their bodies for that shit. How is that any different? How is that any different than the man out mowing a lawn? He's giving his body for that shit. How is that any different than a police officer who goes every day and puts his body on the line? We are all hustling. We are all giving our bodies, our souls for that fucking paycheck that the government taxes and taxes again. First, they take it from us, and then we got to go to the store and we pay taxes on that shit. And then we got people who are blessed enough in society that they have money and they look down on people who don't and make them feel like crap for doing the best that they can. Don't let people make you feel like you're not good enough. If you're doing your best and you have a bike and you live with your mom, it'll get better. And if it doesn't, you're still doing your best. Don't let people make you feel like crap because of things that you are doing your damnedest on. Because they're just sad people. Make sure that you know your worth. I know my worth. And I think it's hilarious to me that this person thought that they were going to get one up on me and tell me I wasn't an adult because I share a vehicle or I worked at a pizza place. I'm still doing that thing. I'm still going out and getting that money. Whether I'm flipping a fucking pizza, whether I'm fucking defending murderers and stealers and everything else. We all do our jobs every day. We do what we have to do to get by. My job title doesn't matter. What I live in doesn't matter. What I drive doesn't matter. None of it matters. And for the people who think it matters, one day you'll know. I've seen it happen over and over again. I've seen it happen so many times. Look down your nose long enough and you'll fall on your face. And that's just the facts. So it is now 9:51 and I am hungry as hell and I need to make dinner. So thanks you guys for showing up. I appreciate you guys. I feel like this has been a good live. And I hope you all are well together and just know that you are enough no matter what. Somebody just set off a huge firework. All right.
I gotta go bring the dogs, and those fireworks are gonna scare
All right,
the shit out
guys.
of them.
I got to go. We're going to go get my dogs and make dinner. So I'll see you later.